So now let's talk about brain mapping your life goals, right? We talked about finance, we talked about educational goals, we talked about career goals, we talked about mentoring, but life goals. What do you want? When you see yourself in 5 to 10 years, what do you see? Do you see yourself with the big house? Do you see yourself with the condo? Do you see yourself living in a big city? Do you see yourself living in the suburbs? Do you see yourself living near water? Do you see yourself living in mountains? What do you see? Because your life goals are just as important as everything else, because you have to think out what you want. And if you're in a relationship with someone, guess what? You got to discuss that with them too. Because now it's two people making a decision. But many of you don't have that problem right now, right? I want you to think about just you. I want you to think about and put on paper, what type of house do you want? Do you want a 4-bedroom house with an acre lawn? Do you want a condo, 2-bedroom, 2-bath? What do you want? And then I want you to research it. Because this is the real part, right? This is where you make the dream a reality. Can't say you want to drive a Benz if you don't know what the cost of the Benz is. Can't say you want that new Maximum, Nissan by the way, if you don't know what the cost of a Nissan Maximum is. But if you do know what that is, then now you have a goal that you can now begin going after and figuring out a way to attain it, right? Financially speaking. If I have a goal of buying a house that's going to cost $450,000, I need to know what my income must be to be able to afford that house to get a loan or a mortgage on. I need to know these things. I need to know how my salary and my student loans and all these different things play a part into my overall life goals. If I plan on being married by 30 or having kids when I'm 25, whatever your goals are, you got to begin thinking about that process. And hear me, that doesn't mean they're going to happen that way. I may make a goal that I won't get married until I'm 30. But guess what? I got married at 24. So evidently I was a little early. But I had some people that probably want to be married at 24 and they still ain't married. And they're all 40. So it is what it is. But it's all about you just putting your goals on paper. It makes them real. I love everyone gets excited about the vision boards, right? They get so excited. But I think when you begin connecting the dots on how you're going to reach that vision board is where that vision board now comes to life. Because if you have the big house on the vision board, guess what? You now know what the big house costs. And you also know what the other homes cost in your area. And you begin seeing that, okay, I don't necessarily need that house. I want this house right here. And this house is in my budget. If I make this amount of money, I can also have this car. I can also save this amount of money per year. Now you begin seeing how all of your goals begin overlapping and stacking themselves. Life goals are extremely important. But at the same time, having plans on how you're going to attain these life goals are just as important. Brain mapping and goal mapping all of your goals and putting them on paper and thinking through the process and procedures on what you have to do is extremely important. But it's also called diversifying your goals. See, I have mentors for business. I have mentors for real estate and investing. I have mentors for my spiritual life. I have mentors on being a better husband, father. I have mentors for every aspect of my life. So the question is, for your life goals, who's mentoring you? Do you have someone who's been married years that's giving you counseling? Do you have someone who's purchased their first house giving you advice on what they did and what programs were available? Do you have a person who's a real estate agent that you can talk to that's giving you counsel as well? All of these things, even though you're not even nowhere near ready to buy them, is something to think about. Because see, goals and time both come up really quickly. All right? Time will fly by. 4 years of high school will fly by. 4 years of college will fly by. And now you'll find yourself in your career field now having to make these decisions. And guess what? You now have 8 years of research. You have 8 years of learning. So where now when you're making these decisions while everyone else is stressed out and worried, you're not. You've been mapping it out. You've been crossing out some of your goals. You've been changing your goals. You've been amending your goals. You've been figuring out what city was better for you. You've been now moved because you work for a different company than you once worked for. You now became an entrepreneur. You did all these different things. And every time you did it, you shifted your brain mapping. You shifted your goals. You prepared for the next transition. It's because life is constantly evolving. I want you to constantly evolve. I want you to embrace the process of evolving. And I want you to really think out what you want. What do you want to have in a significant other? Where do you want to live at? Sounds crazy, right? That house that you put on that paper, and you begin creating a realistic plan of how you're going to attain it, you'll now begin putting in the work to get it. So now when you see extra opportunities to make income or to work overtime, where you have a side job and you're adding additional income, see, all of that stuff comes together. And those things now help you reach those goals. I'd rather have a goal and then have a choice of whether I want to actually get the thing or not than to have a goal with no steps and that goal now becomes a fantasy.